Hi and welcome to another video from me, Chris here at DBG. It's NFL season. We've had the first week over. I didn't get a chance to film the draft just because I was on my phone travelling back from a kids' party. My kids were invited to, so it was a manic one. But let's go straight into week one. I won't go too much in detail of our team. That will slowly go as we progress. So hopefully enjoy. Please like, subscribe. Let's see how I did, and let's have a look, see how we think we're going to do. As you can see, week one, 134 to Chicago, and me 140. Devil's Brush getting the first dub of the season. But there's something I have to do first. Small little violin. Rodgers. You've been amazing this season. It was like watching a true Make-A-Wish Foundation seeing you come on the pitch. And then going off for four plays later. He is gone for the season. Poor Achilles ankle. Not great. Genuinely hope he had a recovery, and I really hope this isn't the finale of his NFL career as well, because that would be a true shame. He has, wherever you divide, whether you like the player or not, you don't wish an injury like this on anyone, and more so because he's in my fantasy team. Let's be honest, that's what is important today. So it is. If you haven't followed before, been part of this league now for about 6, 7, 8 seasons. It is a super flex league, so it gets quite competitive at quarterback. So at the moment I only have one QB, which is Geno Smith, who in theory had a absolute disaster last week. But people that saved me was Eckler, Michael Pittman, who's definitely a target at the moment, which is great. He is definitely the wide receiver one in that thing. Aaron Jones, amazing. Algier was on my bench at the time because that's where Rodgers was. And let's be honest, Dallas Cowboys saved me the game. Without them, I wouldn't have won at all. But then you would have expected Rodgers to get, 16 points or so. It was a bit of a fluke win, let's be honest. And I've already got Eckler and Jones injured. Jones should play, but definitely keep a watch out for that. And Eckler is day by day. They rested him this week in injury, which is pretty standard anyway. Now we're in the season, you'll see the big players starting to rest midweek, and they'll go on like a questionable list just purely because of that. So everyone else, let's have a look at the matchups. Let's see where everyone else at. So Chicago does have a bit of a mixed bag of a team. Have Tyreek Hill and you have Patrick Mahomes. They're the two big guns in that team. Hopkinson is a great tight end and has prospects of being at least top 3 tight ends. I reckon he's going to be 2 overall by the end of the season. So not a very competitive position because there's such a massive difference from the top 4 or 5 maybe compared to everyone else. You're just wishing for a touchdown and maybe a pass, and you're going to get some points. On the bench, though, he has got Jordan Love, who is done a great first week, so we'll see how he goes moving forward. He's got Goff and obviously Holmes in there for his 3 QBs, so that's where the competitiveness of the QBs in our league goes very quickly, because most teams have two. Everyone starts with tries to get 2 for that super flex spot, and then most teams have a backup as well, which means out of a whole league of with 12 people league, that's a lot of QBs off the bench or off the waiver wire at least. And my brother-in-law Matt, Unfortunately, he has lost his first game. He's got an interesting team. He loves his running QBs, so he's got Lamar Jackson and Anthony Richardson there. I'd expect big things from them as long as Anthony Richardson stops putting himself in a position to get absolutely smashed every week. Barkley, in theory, should be doing well, but I'm pretty sure he's having flashbacks still from Dallas in his face. Antonio Gibson, I don't rate him now. I think Brian Robinson is the number one running back there and definitely utilised a lot more. Chris Olave had a great game, expect that going forward. Johnson, he's getting targets, he just needs to Pittsburgh just needs to absolutely steamrolled by 49ers. Hopkins, great addition to Tennessee. Let's see if he keeps going that way. Kamara is on suspension. Let's see how he goes forward. And then you can see the rest there as well. Obviously, you've got Mike Andrews, who's in injury at the moment. So he's got a good he's got, top 5 tight end there as well. Fanatic Wanderers, Tua. Great first game. Hopefully this will go through. Jahmyr Gibbs. It wasn't to be unexpected. I think everyone's hyping him too soon, too early. He's definitely got the potential, but they've already said they're going to work him in. So expect sort of that, plays to get bigger and better as they go along. Sanders settling into a new team, doing well. Adams, I don't expect massive things from him, but going forward it could be well. Christian Kirk, I am concerned about massively because he wasn't being played that much or getting, he wasn't on the pitch that much on 2 wide receiver style of plays by Jackson. He was definitely there in the 3 wide receivers, but Cleveland Ridley seems to be the main target there. We're only week 1, so I wouldn't jump ship too soon, too early. Tyler Higbee, he's a tight end. Waddle is always going to get good points, especially when Hill is dominating all over the place. Actually, he's going to have like double or even triple cover at some points, which leaves Waddle open. Garoppolo, good quarterback, gets you your standard. Never going to be high end, but he's going to get you those upside points every week. Then you've got Purdy on the bench as the 3rd QB. Everyone else pretty standard, apart from Cooper Kupp, who I wouldn't touch at all. He's definitely injured, and I doubt he'll come back the same type of player. He might come back where it'd be too late for them. So let's see. And we have Dak, 121 versus 118. Very close games so far. Good matchups in that sense. Got Hurts, didn't really do much, getting really restricted from New England's defence, but expecting things going forward. Cam Akers, well, he might not be RB1 soon in there, so we'll see how that develops. Alexander Peterson's doing well, expect big things. St. Brown doing great, and Ridley, both really high upset wide receivers. Dobbins, well, like I say, you are officially in injury reserve, but I think he's out for the season, isn't he? Let's be honest. Which is a shame. He's a great talent, but going forward, we'll see what happens. Herbert is the 2nd QB, and the 3rd QB is Bryce Young. Not doing good for his first game, definitely needs that settling in, but he's got Dalvin Cook on there. We'll see how they get developed in New York or the Jets, especially now as Jets are trying to find a QB. They could rely massively on the running game, which actually plays really strongly in Cook's upside. On the other side, we have Prescott. Well, to be fair, you wouldn't think his team would win by 40 points to 0, which is amazing. That is my team, and I love Dallas, and I love it when Prescott doesn't throw, to be honest, because I don't particularly like him for fantasy purposes. I think he is a interception points machine, and is really frustrating sometimes to watch him as a fan. But what can you expect from a defense that's going to score 2 touchdowns for you? He really didn't need to do much. The positive was Tony Pollard. Even when they were in the lead, they were still running hard as well. They could have benched Tony Pollard. To be fair, they could have benched Prescott at a certain time and just rested, but they didn't. They piled on the points, so fair play. Stevenson, he is definitely the running back one in New York, and he's going to be utilised every week. This, I think, is a scary team going forward. Diggs as well, massive upside, is amazing. Mike Williams is okay. Pat Fryer is okay. His tight end is reliable. Terry McGinnon he's got turf toe, and we know that injury can come up quite a lot of times. And Baker Mayfield actually had a crazy good game, having his first win. Not many points for fantasy purposes, but for game terms, really good there. Murray not doing particularly well, and just wasn't played at all, really. For some reason, he's still injured, isn't he? So he might not come back. Perine, I think it's going to be utilised really a lot more, with Williams still not 100%. Elliott, let's be honest, he is not a threat to Stevenson. Unless Stevenson gets injured, he is definitely a safety blanket there. Kadarius Toney, well, maybe you just need to learn how to catch. He had an awful game. Going forward, I'm at the dropping stage if I have him. I prefer Rice, and I think if you're going to upset Holmes with poor catches very early on, you might not be passed to again for on often. Let's see how next week goes, or this week goes, and we'll go from there. So next up was Chip and Jonathan with Birds and Tampa. And if you can see anything, and if you played fantasy before, getting a draw is definitely really hard and an achievement all at the same time. It can definitely help you get into playoffs, or it can hinder you. It really depends how the rest of your season goes. But they both scored 117 points, which in week one definitely is quite respectable. Looking at some of the scores, they would have definitely beat at least almost half of the field of the other players. So unfortunately, we got paired up. On Bird's team, he has got Cousins. He's very reliable. Let's be honest, he's always going to get you his standard 15 points every week. White, I personally would never have drafted him. He is the running back one at Tampa, but he has the worst yards carry in the whole of the NFL at the moment, and it was definitely carrying on from last season. Does have Kenny Walker, who's still recovering from an injury, but he is definitely a lot better. AJ Brown is always up there chance. Going forward, you'd expect some high points from him. Garrett Wilson, well, with unfortunately Rodgers now out, Wilson is definitely plummeting on the drafts. It'll be interesting to who the new quarterback is going forward. I know they have contacted some old vets, and could we see Wentz come back? It'll be interesting. Dalton, tight end for Buffalo. He is a rookie. You never expect anything massive from rookie tight ends. They're historically not very good. He is amazing talent. If you're in a keeper league, then he's someone to keep a hold of, but in a redraft league, just keep watching that space. Mike Evans doing exactly what he's always been doing. He's proving that you can get points regardless who the quarterback is, with Mayfield there, so well done to him. Stafford doing well, only 14 points, but he had a tough game after all. Kelsey is his number one tight end, which is really good, but he is currently injured, and everyone else is pretty standard. His third QB is Ridley, which you wouldn't expect much from there anyway. On the other side, you had Watson coming back with Cleveland, doing quite well, scoring some good points. So well done to him. He had quite a interesting season last year, so coming back strong. Let's see if it goes forward the same way. McCaffrey, as much as he gets, predicted points, you always hope for more, and he's done that exactly the same. Predicted 16, got 25 points. Expecting to go forward. It's a great offense with great O-line. They're always going to score loads of points. And they've got the defense to keep the other opponent's points down as well, which plays in the hands of the running game. Cook, not expecting much, but he's going to always get those sort of 9-10 points as standard because he does get the volume. You're just hoping for a touchdown to push him above everyone else. CeeDee Lamb, to be fair, Prescott didn't need to throw the ball. It was defense and running game that scored all the points, so therefore there wasn't much opportunities for Lamb going forward. DK Metcalf, 13 points. You're always expecting the big play opportunity going forward, and unfortunately they just didn't get that enough for him this week. Amari Cooper, him Browns, only 6 points from actually quite a good game. Had a lot of potential, but we'll see how it goes forward. I think he's a good player, and he always, volume-wise, is got that. So he's just a matter of opportunity. Derek Carr is a bit like Cousins. He's sort of Mr. Reliable. And going forward, he's got big play opportunities as well. He does like throwing quite long, which has potential cause interceptions, but he's going to get quite a lot. One of my favourite players, definitely from watching camps, from when he was at New England, was Jacob Myers. Garoppolo loves throwing a deep ball, and that's where Myers is. 29 points, exceptional. Is it what you expect going forward? No, not a chance. But is he someone to keep on your radar? Yes, 100%. Might be worth trying to throw a trade in. You're not going to get good trade value at this stage, so maybe a couple points down, but I do think he's going to be consistently getting sort of those 10 to 15 points going forward. Mac Jones, had an exceptional game. You expected Philadelphia to run all over New England, and yes, they did win, but it was a very close game. Apart from a very disappointing first half or first quarter, Jones didn't really do anything, and after that, he really stepped up his game and scored 23 points in fantasy. So he's going forward actually quite well. Could I play him above the other QBs that are in that team? It's a bit of a risk. You got two people that are quite well. Carr probably be one replacement who's quite consistent, so it's whether or not you need upside on that week is worth a throw in. Final two games, Badlands and Hollywood, 96 and 104. Hollywood getting his win of the season. Borough, well, you might as well just say Bengals didn't show up. Let's be honest. And he had Mixon as well. They just didn't turn up at all. Going forward, am I worried? No, it's what happened last year. And I think a lot of people were forgetting that Bengals were 2-0 at the start of the season as well last year, and then brought it all together. I think expect it's gonna go that way. Pierce didn't get very much of the running game. Jefferson, 25 points. He's your wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 1 overall. Expect going forward should be quite good and strike strong. Allen, actually really surprising for his points because he seemed to be there and opportunities were going his way. Hopefully that will continue and he'll get more points. It was a high scoring game. Kyle Pitts, he's nothing but disappointment every year. I'd love for him to go forward. You'd expected high hopes from the draft and the combine, but we'll see. Russell Wilson, 15 points. What do you expect? Do you know what? You want him to do well, but I think he was in such a friendly offense at Seattle. Maybe he just needs more time still to sell into the offense there. But we'll go forward. I think he's going to do well. Bench of the week easily goes to Brandon Ayuk at 32 points. He was getting the ball all over the place. Was that sort of to be expected? Definitely not as much as 32 points, but going forward with everything is there, he's definitely going to cause a lot more attention now. But you've got so many weapons in Seattle that it's hard to predict who's going to get those scores and who's going to get a consistency. I'd expect high games and low games on you. He's going to win you weeks and then not get you anything from the previous. So wishful thinking going forward. Hopefully he's a great talent and should win. Trevor Lawrence was one of my targets for QB, but definitely got pinched for that. 17 points is a slow start for Jacksonville, but they got a win over Colts. Anyway, so we'll see what's going to happen. Bijan Robinson, well, he started off with bang, getting his first touchdown, and the interesting thing is it's definitely run by committee with Taylor Allgeier as well, almost a good sort of 50 split at the moment, but Brian Robinson being used more in that sort of passing game, which for fantasy terms is great because he's going to get those points, and throwing a touchdown here and there, he's always going to score. So great start for the Iran rookie. Nick Chubb, almost both competition to be running back one of the year, maybe both heading maybe in sort of the top three. At least it'll be interesting how they go on. Wide receivers, Johnson and Beckham, wasn't expecting much, but hopefully going forward might get some better points, but there was some people injured that could have taken their place. Brian Robinson, I really like him. Also, he recovered from being shot last year, and he's started really well and really strong. He is the running back one in that game. In the game going forward, do I think the same? Yeah, I think he's going to take over that backfield for Washington. So good luck with that. Daniel Jones, I think he's in shell shock from Dallas all in his face. So hopefully he can snap out that week 2. Going forward, he's a running, passing quarterback. He's actually got the potential to score a lot of points, but definitely I'm concerned about Giants overall at the moment, from absolute getting whitewashed by Dallas. Now, there's no exception that Dallas had an incredible game defensively, and I wouldn't expect, there's not many other defenses that are going to do that every week, but they're going to be playing Dallas gang, so let's see what's going to happen. Joe Judy injured, but should be running back and should be pretty good there. Jamal Williams is slowly recovering, let's be honest, from injury. We'll see how it goes. Mitchell is the backup to McCaffrey, so if McCaffrey goes down, he's your safety on the net. Don't really matter. Oh, Sam Wash, not Sam Wash. It's because I'm looking at Winston. So how is the QB for Washington? That's the third QB there as well. And then Christian Watson at Green Bay. Didn't do anything. He's been injured, so we'll see what's going to happen with him, or is Dobbs going to take over his possession? If they're both in, they'll be good. And lastly, you've got the Oriental Lovers, Cleveland Steamers. So the lowest points playing each other. They would have lost against anyone else, and anyone else who lost would have beat them at 76 points and 80 points. So a lucky win, arguably, but when you need that little bit of luck, it's good, and luck is as good as skill until it runs out, in my opinion. So Justin Fields, you expected more from him being a running style of quarterback, but it was a tough game. I think everything got away from him very quickly, unfortunately. Josh Jacobs, yes, he was a highlight of last year, let's be honest, but I don't expect the same going forward. It is a very different team in Las Vegas with the new QB. Breece Hall, expected not really much from him this week because of his injuries, but actually with the injury to Rodgers, actually they're going to be relying on him a lot more, and if he is back to anywhere near he was before he was injured, he is a great talent and it should be watched at. Chase is Bengals, you need to turn up. Smith got loads of plays through Hurts, which is good. And going forward, Dallas Goedert, he didn't do anything really. Taylor Lockett, pretty much the same. Pickett, you got smashed by Cincinnati, and Pittsburgh, actually I never rated their defense particularly that high because I don't rate their offense to be able to score the points and then make the opposition offense take risks to get back in the game. It's always going to be close games in Pittsburgh, or whitewashes, in my opinion. George Pickett's is going to affect him. Burks, you're not Henry. Let's be honest. If anyone thought he was Henry, he's not. If Henry's on the field, Burks is getting not much in. But if Henry gets injured, Burks actually has a great opportunity there. Michael Thomas, 10 points, 11 points, 11 points. Good start for him. And everyone else pretty much the same. On the other side, Josh Allen, interception king at the moment. That's a tough game. Even with Rodgers going out and then the QB stepping in with the MILF Hunter, then you still lost. I don't know how. You manage that, Allen, but he is a great quarterback. He's going to bounce back going forward. He's still top 5 quarterbacks every week. You're not going to drop him or bench him, even in a Superflex league. Travis Etienne, great to see him on the field. Had great potential, really good. Ash Patako, not doing great. Needs to run between the lines a little bit more, but we'll see how it goes. T. Higgins, another Bengals fan, not turning up last week, which is disappointing because I really like Bengals. This is all my second favourite team. Deebo Samuel, he's going to have up games, he's going to have down games. It's very rare he gets an average game, which is pretty much a 10 score. Going forward, you pretty much expect that. I don't think he's going to lose you weeks necessarily, but he's definitely going to win you weeks when he's there. So he's worth always a flex spot at least. If you've got a better wide receiver and you don't need the risk, then that's your call. Really, it's quite hard, especially with Metcalf down now, taking over the running game, which you've seen from last season. George Kittle was injured, so didn't expect much from him. And AJ Dillon really didn't do much, but could do a lot more going forward, as we saw a little bit of hobble from Aaron Jones, who had a great game. I hope he's on mine. I hope he does better, or not better. Just hope he recovers and stays that key going forward. On the bench, obviously he has not much, to be honest. Just people that are going to drop in every now and again. It'd be interesting to know what's going on with Colts, with Taylor. Obviously they're saying he's injured. Is he really injured? He's on IR, so he has to spend time off. Are they using that opportunity to do trades? That seems to be the call of it at the moment. So league home, that is pretty much it. We have a lot of transactions already, and you can see people already spending their waiver budget. Predictions, I went from 8th to 4th. Badlands went from 9th to 1st, which is interesting. Who dropped the most? Matt went from 7th to 12th. From 1st to 9th from Badlands. Winning it is Dak from 11th to 1st. Obviously, this is the first week. It is always going to be all over the place, and I never believe these anyway. So, but they're nice to see, and they're quite funny in our chat. At the moment, I am at top of the stadium just because of how many points I have scored, but we all know it means very little from this week and going forward. It is all about that playoff percentage, because anything goes in the playoffs. Getting a win, you just need to get those 5 wins, sometimes 5-6 wins can get you into that playoff margin. That's what it's all about. Let's go forward. Let's see on that. Players wise, there isn't many I can pick, and this is where I'm struggling at the moment. I missed a lot on the waiver from my bids. As you can see, I could take a stab at Gallup, maybe, but it didn't really do much. Romeo Dobbs might be worth a stash for me. Going forward at Green Bay, especially with Watson being injured. Anything lands out, that might not be a bad idea. What is questionable about him at the moment? Dobbs played a limited amount of Bears. He got 2 touchdowns, which won't even could be a wide receiver 3 or flex rate. Do you know what? That's probably not far off what I think he could be actually. Indication of the setback of his hamstring injury that dates while Watson's hamstring was sidelined for the cost. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what it's got. Only predicted 9 points, but I'm a bit concerned about DJ Moore. He was covered by the best corner in the whole of the NFL, so there wasn't really much opportunities there going forward. But if we looked at quarterback just quickly, position, there we go. There is 2 options at the moment, and that is it, which is Zach Wilson. Do I rely on him getting more than Tyler Algier? No, on a weekly basis. And same as Joshua Dobbs. I don't expect either one of them to do anything really this season, other than cause more problems. Obviously, Rodgers is out for the season. He was there. He is out for the rest of the season. Torn Achilles. Yeah, that's it. Is anyone coming back for anyone? I don't know. What else? Is there any information on Carson Wentz? No transaction this year, but tends to be not much on here anyway. So that is the league as it stands. How's your league going? Let us know. Who would you trade for? Who's the type of players you want on your team going forwards? Let's have a look. Please comment, subscribe, all of that jazz. We'll keep a week by week basis just because I enjoy fantasy and I've been playing this for so long. It's just nice to do a little video. But we are a 12-man league and a super flex, so let's go from there. Let's see, we've been playing, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 seasons. This has been so we're all still amateurs and but some understanding, and I do some bit of research. So please let us know what you think. Please like, subscribe, all of that jazz, and best of luck in your fantasy.